Good morning, everyone. The time is now 8 o'clock. I call the Tuesday, February, oh, I have the wrong one, February 10th, 2026 meeting of the DuPage County Board to order. A quorum of members is physically present. I will entertain a motion to permit those members not physically present due to personal illness or disability, employment purposes, or the business of the board, family or other emergency or unexpected childcare obligations to participate by video or teleconference. I have a motion by, I think, member Heather, second by member, member Zay now. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Thank you. Welcome, member Covert.
Thank you.
It works. Okay, can I get a roll call, please?
Member Cahill.
Here.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert.
Here.
Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia.
Here.
Member Heather. Member Honig.
Here.
Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozag. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu. Member Zay.
And we. Thank you, member Eckhoff is here. And we are. We do have public comments today. You want to read off?
Sure.
Here?
Maria Sinkuel.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Dr. Maria Sinkiel, and I'm here because I want to support any resolution aimed at preventing gun violence in DuPage County, but also advancing evidence-based strategies to prioritize community safety. But also, more than anything, I would support any creation of any memorial honoring the lives lost to gun violence in our country. As someone that serves as a school social worker in our community, I see the impact it has. As someone that lives through lockdown drills, with practice with my students, I see how scary it is in these times for what we have come to experience as a community. In DuPage County alone, there have been approximately 41 individuals who have passed away of gun violence. Such a memorial would not serve not only as a space for remembrance and healing, but also a powerful reminder of our shared commitment as a community to address gun violence and acknowledge the lasting impact it has on individuals, families, and our collective well-being. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Katie Harris.
And I am a volunteer with
Can you
Northeastern.
pull the microphone up a little closer to your mouth?
I'm a volunteer with Northeastern DuPage Moms Demand Action. I'm here to express my support for the proposed gun violence memorial. From a financial standpoint, this memorial is a modest one-time investment with long-term public value. It carries minimal ongoing costs, leverages community support, and does not divert funds from essential county services. This careful use of public funds gives grieving families something priceless, a place to remember and heal.
Okay, thank you very much. Any others?
Yes.
Okay. In terms of chairwoman's remarks, I really don't have any today. So I am now looking for a motion to approve the minutes 26-0514 for the Finance Committee for the regular meeting of Tuesday, January 27, 2026. Motion by member Heather, second by member Evans. Any discussion on these? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to budget transfers, I'm looking for a motion to approve 26-0614 transfer of funds from contingencies to IT services in the amount of $20,000 for the HR payroll implementation for the external database for the finance reports. Motion by, member Zay, second by member Galassi. Any discussion on these items? Any, okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. May I get a motion to approve 26-0616 transfer of funds from employer share Social Security to regular salaries in the amount of $87 needed to meet the new GASB 101 requirements for compensated absences in the recorder for the GIS. Motion by member Heather, second by member Cahill. Any discussion on this? Member Zay.
Can someone explain this $87 that we have? Just kidding. I'm just kidding, Jeff. Just kidding.
He was just kidding. Okay. Thank you, member Z. Maybe member Krajewski is not kidding. Let's see.
No, I'm not kidding, but I raised this issue a long time ago. Can we just check with the finance departments in Lake County, Kane County, Kendall County, and just ask Will County if they are really giving us, they're doing the same thing, approving these $87 or $8? I'm just curious if they're doing that or not. I asked time ago, if we could just ask the other counties if they come in front of their board with $8, $6.
So you're looking for there's a limit on which they don't bring it
And
before?
if the other counties around us in their board meetings are doing this exact same thing when we waste all our time for $80 or $20 or $30 or $7, I'd just be curious if every other county around us is doing the exact same thing.
Okay, I think that they have said that they will look into that. Okay, I'm looking over there. They said, yes, they will get there for you, member Krajewski. Yeah, we're not gonna do it today. So, all right, is there any other discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any? Motion carries. May I get a motion to approve 26-0618, transfer of funds from overtime to regular salaries in the amount of $1,011 to meet the new GASB 101 requirements for compensated absence in the recorder document storage. Motion by member Cahill, second by member Evans. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. May I get a motion to approve 26-0630, transfer of funds from IT equipment capital lease software in the amount of $150,000 to cover cost of new recording software system for the recorder document storage. I think I heard a motion by member Covert. Second by member Evans. Is there any discussion on this? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. May I get a motion to approve 26-06106 for the budget transfers 2/10/2026 for the various companies and accounting units? Motion by member Evans, second by member Heather. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to procurement requisitions, and I hand it off to Vice Chair Cahill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for approval on FIP 0001-26, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Medici Land Governance, Inc. for a comprehensive land record management system for the Recorder's Office for the period of April 1st, 2026 through November 30th, 2029, for a contract total amount of $899,900 per RFP.
I got a motion, member Cahill, second by member Galassi. Is there any discussion on this? Member you.
Thank you, Chair. I was just wondering if I could get some more information about this. Is this a new vendor, a new RFP? Because I don't remember this record management system.
Oh, we have Recorder Chaplain here who will explain this to you.
There we go. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy to be here. Thank you for the question. This is a new recording platform. When I took office in December of 2024, our current vendor's contract was expiring. So we did an extension and then we started the bid process. Our original vendor that we're using currently, that process was never bid out. So we thought this was a great opportunity to put this out to market, see what platforms were available. And, we worked with Valerie and IT, and Medici came out as our choice. It's a really great company, and we're excited, if we're able to get this about the possibility, it's going to be a really change maker for DuPage County.
Thank you, and thank you for using county procurement.
Yes. Any other questions while I'm here? Yeah.
Member Krajewski.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that information. Long-term with the Recorder's Office, do you have any other potential software needs that would become forward? I know several years ago we had like the treasurer year after year telling us eventually we have to get a new system in place for send out the tax bills, but
Well, this is a new system. We expect this one to last at least 10 years. The one thing that we may need is hardware. So, but I can check with my IT, or maybe Anthony, do you even know that question about our hardware?
You can just get it to us. I was just wondering long-term because we're talked last week about surpluses and maybe putting more money into computer infrastructure, IT infrastructure?
Well, just the thought was, and this isn't necessarily my office, but the county has to be ADA compliant by April 2027. So it's costly to do that for some departments, and that might be a great use of the surplus funds as well.
Oh.
Yes.
IT.
Not anything to do with my thing, but Anthony, do you want to answer?
Sure. I'll just add that this particular system is cloud-based, so it won't need additional hardware. There are other systems that it connects to that we may have to take a look at over time, but they are smaller systems than this one. This is probably the biggest investment that the recorder's office in terms of technology will make probably in the next 10 to 15 years.
Okay, so maybe some smaller ones like hardware, like $500,000 or something like that effect, or.
I don't know about cost,
Okay,
but
but-
smaller.
But the need in the recorder's office will be just potentially smaller hardware over the next several years.
Correct.
Thank you.
This software is going to allow us to integrate with the clerk's office so that we can send them the legal descriptions. It's going to integrate with the assessor's office so we can send them the sales ratio of information. And then it's going to integrate with the treasurer's office so that we can get the addresses and names of those property owners correct for the tax bills. So it's really going to be, and it's also going to integrate with the Illinois Department of Revenue, where we have to send our MyDex. So it's really going to be a much improved system.
Okay, Member Ozog?
Thank you. Pardon me. Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to applaud the recorder for the process that you used here. You were brand new in office and decided to extend the previous contract, so you took a year to figure out what is actually needed, RFP process, et cetera. And when this kind of transparency is followed, everybody wins. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Ozak.
Okay, real quick, Valerie, did you have anything to add? I know you're standing up there. No? Okay. Member Krajewski?
Yeah, I was just gonna follow up. I think recently you changed to allow now quitclaim deeds to be like, I guess, emailed in to record. And I was just curious, is that helping in like cutting down on the amount of time?
You know what? Even when documents are emailed in, they still have to be reviewed by the recorder. So it is still a little bit like,
No time savings on your end, but
Really not-
much more convenient.
much
for
more
the
convenient.
End user or the users of it. So
Right.
no, it's a great process. I've heard from a lot of attorneys, it's great that they don't have to come in here, mail them in, that they could just go and send them to you.
That's right. Yeah, we're really trying to get as much as we can through e-recording. So because it's convenience.
No,
for
I've
our
heard a lot of
customers.
positive from the users of that. So.
Yeah, and this system is going to help to identify the recording requirements with the AI. So the hardest part of recording is the first part, reviewing the documents, making sure it meets all of the requirements to be recorded. So with the assistance of AI, that's going to be really wonderful, and it will let people know, hey, you can even, the submitter will be able to pay a fee of $10, have their document reviewed, and it will tell them if it meets the requirements or not. If they want to submit it, they can go back and change it. So it's really, I mean, this is really, like I said, state of the art. We're very excited about it.
All right, thank you for coming and answering questions here. It's very good. Oh,
Thank you, Chair. And yeah, great job on this, Recorder Chaplain. Quick question for clarification. Did you say this type of software has not been bid out before? This is the first time this has been bid out?
Well, actually, talking to my staff that's been there for years, 12, 13, 20 years, they said this is the first RFP that the recorder's office has done.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thank you.
Job.
okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Recorder Chaplain.
Thank you.
All in favor of this? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to Human Services and Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on HSP 526, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to enter into a sub-grantee agreement with Catholic Charities to provide shelter, case management, and financial assistance to situationally homeless residents and at risk of homelessness residents of DuPage County for the period January 1, 26 through March 31, 27, the amount of $58,000.
Got a motion by Member Schwarzy, second by Member Galassi. Any discussion on this? Member Krajewski.
Just the first six, just the question of, because they all started like last month, was it due to that federal shutdown, federal money was
right now we are receiving all of CSBG grant funding, so.
I mean, all these next 6 are all started already, like January 1st.
Correct.
Is anyone here? Gina?
Mary
You-
is,
I know Gina's here. I don't know. Gina, you have to come up here and talk in the mic. I know you. Anyways.
Well, they keep coming to us. We're approving stuff that's already in place.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we literally just received the award from the state. So,
All 6 of these are.
for all
because
6 of these,
the state.
because
gave it
of-
To us late.
yes, yeah,
Right,
because of the
thank you.
federal.
Federal got it to the
Federal-
state late, state now got it to us late.
Yeah,
So
and
it's,
that's how we do that federal. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
so
you.
we can't award it until we get it.
No, I understood. I was just wondering.
that's
because-
exactly what you asked. Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Any other questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any- Motion carries.
Thank you. I move on HSP 626, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to enter into a sub-grantee agreement with the Garden Works project to plan, build, promote, and sustain community gardens in DuPage County for community services for the period January 1, 26 through December 31, 26 in the amount of $55,000.
A motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Heather. Is there any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move on HSP 726, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to enter into sub-grantee agreement with Home DuPage Inc. to provide financial literacy counseling, budget and credit counseling, credit repair, and financial literacy workshops to low-income residents in DuPage County for community services for a period of January 1, 26 through March 31, 27 for a contract total not to exceed $84,728.
Motion by member Schwarzy, second by Vice Chair Cahill. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move on HSP 826, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to enter into sub-grantee agreement with Outreach Community Services, Inc. to provide case management, counseling, job training readiness, work experience, transportation, and GED assistance to low-income youth residing in DuPage County for community services for the period of January 1, 26 through March 31, 27, or a contract total not to exceed $115,000.
Got a motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Yu. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move on HSP 926, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to enter into sub-grantee agreement with Teen Parent Connection to provide car seats, booster seats, diapers, formula, wipes, and car seat safety training to low-income residents of DuPage County for community services for the period January 1, 26 through March 31, 27 for a contract total not to exceed $40,000.
Motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Heather. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move on HSP 1026, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to enter into a sub-grantee agreement with 360 Youth Services to provide case management, housing, job coaching, preparedness, transportation, educational services, and GED coaching to homeless youth and young adults in DuPage County for community services for the period January 1, 26 through March 31, 27 for a contract total not to exceed $55,242.
Motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Yu. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move to amend HSP 1126 to correct the scrivener's error from $58,300 to $53,800.
Okay. Okay, we've got a motion to amend by member Schwarzy, second by member Evans. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's been amended.
Thank you. I move to approve as amended HSP 1126, recommendation for approval of a contract purchase order issued to C4 Innovations LLC to provide continuum of care coordinate entry system evaluation for community services for the period March 1, 26 through March 1, 27, the amount of $53,800.
Motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Evans. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, is there any discussion? No. Okay, any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move on HSP 1226, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Excel Electric for upgrades to the north generator at the DuPage Care Center for the period February 11, 26 through June 30, 27 for a contract total not to exceed $681,835.
Motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Evans. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move on HSP 1326, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Performance Food Service Chicago for secondary food and supplies for the DuPage Care Center and cafes on county campus for the period March 1, 26 through February 28, 27, for a contract total not to exceed $59,000.
Motion by member Schwartz, second by member Zay. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Finally, I move on HSP 1426, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Shift for Payments LLC for point of sale system subscription and fees for credit card payments for DuPage Care Center and cafes on county campus cafe sales for the period March 1, 26 through February 28, 27, for a total contract not to exceed $42,890.50.
Motion by member Schwartz, second by member Evans. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, member Schwartz. Moving on to judicial and public safety and member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on JPS CO-2-26, Second Amendment to Purchase Order 6662-1 serve issued to Axon Enterprise, Inc. to increase the contract encumbrance in the amount of $162,602.10 for a new contract total not to exceed $1,684,987.90.
Got a motion by member Evans. Who was the second on that? Member Schwartz. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on JPSP 14-26, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Curry Motors Frankfurt, Inc. to furnish and deliver one 2026 Ford Black Police Interceptor for campus security for the period of February 11th, 2026 through November 30th, 2026, for a contract total not to exceed $48,528, contract pursuant to the Governmental Joint Purchasing Act.
We got a motion by member Evans, second by member Zay. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I forgot about this one. I move on JPS R-1-26, resolution correcting various Scrivener's errors in various budget transfers.
Motion by member Evans, second by, member Desart. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, member Evans.
Thank you.
Going into Public Works and member Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on FMP 326 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to Facilities Gateway Corporation to provide uninterrupted power supplies, preventive maintenance, and on-call emergency repair services as needed for facilities management and the Emergency Telephone Systems Board for a period of April 1, 2026 through March 31, 2027 for a total contract amount not to exceed $36,317.72.
Yeah. Motion by member Childress, second by member Yu. Is there any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on FMP 426 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to Rowell Chemical Corporation to provide sodium hypochlorite to the Woodridge Wastewater Treatment Facility and the Knollwood Wastewater Treatment Facility for Public Works for a period of April 1, 2026 to March 31, 2027 for a total contract amount not to exceed $100,000.
We got a motion by member Childress. Who was the second? I'm sorry. Member Heather. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Got one more.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to move on PWR 326 on the Declaration of Public Works 2018 on the Vector 2100I as surplus property.
Motion by member Childers, second by member Zay. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Now, thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, member Childers. Moving into transportation and member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am again assured that you're all disappointed. I have one item today. However,
I am
as
happy.
my list grows, as our list grows in the next few weeks, you can all be assured that spring is coming. So a longer report from us will mean we're that much closer. I move for approval of 260527, Amendment to Resolution DTP 242C19, issued to Trans System Corporation for professional preliminary engineering services for improvements at County Highway 23, Naperville Road, Illinois 38, to increase the contract price in the amount of $39,346.76, resulting in an amended contract total amount of $458,750.78, an increase of 9.38%, and a cumulative increase of 79.26%.
Yeah, motion by member Ozog, second by member Desart. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, member Ozog. And moving back to finance resolutions and back to Vice Chair Cahill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for approval on FIR 33-26, additional appropriation for the Illinois Home Weatherization Assistance Program, Department of Energy Grant Program Year 26 Intergovernmental Agreement from $638,116 to $900,819, an increase of $262,703 for community services.
Got a motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by member Desart. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move for approval on FIR 34-26, additional appropriation for the Illinois Home Weatherization Assistance Program, Grant Year 26 Intergovernmental Agreement from $974,465 to $1,232,976, an increase of $258,511, community services.
Got a motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by member Galassi. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move for approval on FIR 35-26, additional appropriation for the Coroner's Fee Fund, Company 1300, in the amount of $8,000 for the Coroner's Office.
Motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by member Galassi. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for approval on FIR 38-26, authorization to transfer an appropriate amount not to exceed $1,750,000 in additional funds from the general fund to the county infrastructure fund for fiscal year 2025 for the Hinsdale Lake Terrace Rideshare Pilot Program, surplus item.
We got a motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by member Desart. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. I move for approval on FIR 39-26, authorization to transfer and appropriate an amount not to exceed $3,243,574 in additional funds from the general fund to the county infrastructure fund for fiscal year 2025 for various infrastructure projects, a surplus item.
We've got a motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by member Zay, a question by member Eckhoff.
I just had a question for staff. Where this agenda item and the next agenda item are putting over $3 million into two separate funds. Does the identity of the funds, infrastructure fund, and sustainability fund, does that in any way restrict how we use the money?
This was if you remember our last meeting, this was the direction of the board. With the remaining surplus, the board said split it among the two. That's why you have the exact dollar amount between the two. And any further action will record to move forward. You can move it out of that fund. You can spend from that fund as needs arise. We'll bring it back to this board for consideration.
What I'm saying is the fund itself, are there restrictions on what we can spend it on? I mean, I know we've identified.
It's an enterprise fund that you guys have put money in. You as a board can take money out for other purposes as well. But yes, theoretically, that fund and the infrastructure fund is for infrastructure. Here on the campus for IT, if you remember the discussion was for IT. For the other items, sustainability fund, that was the fund that the chair created as part of her budget process that allowed for unknowns in WorkNet, in community services, but that money You guys are basically putting it in those funds and with an intention of, if there's needs, you have it. If there's needs somewhere else, you can always transfer it out.
So no restrictions. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Member Eckhoff. Any other discussion on this? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I move for approval on FIR 40-26, authorization to transfer and appropriate an amount not to exceed $3,243,575 in additional funds from the general fund to the DuPage Sustainability Fund for fiscal year 2025 for various sustainability initiatives, surplus item.
We got a motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by Member Desart. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for approval on FIR 41-26, authorization to transfer and appropriate an amount not to exceed $1,500,000 in additional funds from the general fund to the tort liability fund for fiscal year 2025 for various insurance needs, surplus item.
We got a motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by Member Galassi. Any discussion on this item? Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can the state's attorney let us know, is there anything on the horizon right now that would cause us concern? I support this, but is there anything that we need to be concerned that's coming in
I will be coming in executive session in the next meeting, in 2 weeks, just to update on cases. but-
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion on this? Member Desart.
I just wondered, what is our tort liability fund now with this additional 1.5 million?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
What is our total tort liability fund at right now with this additional 1.5 million?
Do we have a total on that?
We are getting the exact number here, but I do believe our current fund balance is right around 8 million, if I remember correctly. Give me 1 second.
You know, that's fine, Nick. I just
We're
wanted
right
to
around
general.
8 million
That's cool. Thank you.
before this transfer.
Okay, Member Krajewski?
Yeah, I assume Baker Tilly's coming in to start the audit if they haven't already, and that will be a footnote, I assume, in the audit is the outstanding potential liability for legal.
8 million is 8 million, and Baker Tilly is in the process right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna do the audit, and they're gonna ask the state's attorney, and they're gonna find out the pending litigation, and they'll write a footnote regarding that.
Yeah, that's correct. Baker Tilly talks with the state's attorney's office about any significant litigation that needs to be footnoted.
And they'll footnote it, and it'll be available and transparent to the entire world.
Yeah.
So that will be coming as part of the audit, so we'll see that in the audit, and I think that probably answer a lot of people's questions of what's potentially out there.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Back to Vice Chair.
Okay, I move to receive and place on file A, payment of claims, B, grant proposal notifications.
Okay, we've got a motion by Vice Chair Cahill, second by Member, whoever wants to, Member Heather. Any discussion on this? I'm sorry, Member Krajewski.
Could they just, staff get us no hurry right now, but I saw we got all these grant proposal notifications, the block grants coming from looks like the Fed for 2026. How is that in relationship to 2025? Is it less, more? But I don't need an answer now, just if they could get us that information, because I see we got over
Okay.
5.5 million. I just curious, is that similar to last year, more than last year, less than last year?
Okay, we'll ask that question to Mary Keating. She's not here right now, but we'll ask that. Okay. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor of this? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Vice Chair Cahill. Going on to old business. Is there any old business? We got Members A and Member Childers.
Okay.
Member Desire.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today I'm going to ask the board for some help. We had the member initiative program. We had one in District 6 for the Bartlett Police Department. No fault of our staff. Our staff was all over them. They were late bringing their paperwork in. They were getting license plate readers on Stearns Road, which is one of our roads. They didn't get it in until after the deadline. It's $7,000. I was hoping that since they already purchased them and have installed them on our road, that we could find that $7,000 out of our vast budget to pay for those. again, if they hadn't put them up, I would do it. I sent Nick an email from their village administrator and the police chief. It's their fault completely. They were late bringing this stuff in. But they did buy them. They wouldn't have bought them unless we had that program. But again, they were late, and those 2 license plate readers are up on Stearns Road. I don't know. We can probably take it. I'm sure staff will find a spot for that, if that's possible. I'm
Okay.
just asking.
Okay, we have a question from a member Shorzy.
Well, not a question. I just, Member Zay, Member Rutledge and myself worked hard to try to spread our money out through all our communities. And so Bartlett didn't get anything else. It's not like, I'm for.
So you're in
spending the
favor of this?
7,000. Yes.
Okay. Member Juicy?
Yeah, just ask where'd you dump the excess that wasn't used in member initiative?
Remember that big discussion on the surplus we had?
Yeah, so it's just the money that was not used was put into the surplus and
I
community
would recommend-
sustainability and just take it
I
out of
would
there.
recommend for ease of budgeting, we would, if the concurrence is to move forward, we would take the 7,000 out of probably the 2026 contingency line. $7,000. This will be our first draw from that. I think that would be probably the most appropriate.
Could be our first draw from the community sustainability fund.
We could, but it's probably easier on contingency. So if the board would like to move forward with it.
Member LaPlante?
How much was left over from the member initiative fund? The program.
115,000.
Okay. Where did that come from? Like, who did not use, was it?
I think there was a report that Evan sent around. He can send it around that listed every single one, where the money went, what was left over.
Yeah,
So
I
he can
remember that.
make sure we send it out again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, any other discussions on what member Zay is requesting? Can I get consensus if we want to do what member Zay is asking? Okay. We have consensus to do that, so we have a consensus, Nick, so we'll be taking that then from there.
Thank you. That was for 70,000, right?
7.
7, okay.
7.
Good.
Take
Thank
off a 0. Member Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today, I'm looking for consensus to move forward with the proposed Victims of Gun Violence Memorial on the West Campus. Current estimates of the work would be $40,000 to construct. Proposed construction from the contingency funds for this work. The preferred consensus today, we are targeting substantial completion by June, which is Victims of Gun Violence Awareness Month.
And I know I'm totally in favor of this. I've had discussions with member Childress on this. I think this is something that would be fantastic to have on our county campus and something that is needed in our community for people who are dealt with these tragedies in their life. I want to see what everybody else thinks, but I'm totally in favor. Member Dessart?
I'm sorry, I thought we were just giving consensus. I'm
Oh,
raising my
okay.
hand to give
Hold on, we're
consensus.
just getting questions first and then we'll ask for consensus. Member Galassi?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did mention this in the Public Works meeting. My family has been victims of gun violence, so this is near and dear to my heart. I understand the purpose of this. That said, I think this is something that should be fundraised for, because I'm not sure that taxpayer dollars are the most appropriate way to fund something like this. So while I'm in support of the concept, I feel like fundraising would be a more appropriate way to fund it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Galassi. I know we've had discussions, Member Childress and I, in terms of like, okay, thank you. Member Childress and I have had discussions about perhaps having people donate a tree after it's built or something like that in people's names to give some kind of donation, something like that. I do think this is something that we can probably do here in the county myself, but thank you for your input on that. Member Yu is next for the question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm very excited about this gun violence memorial. I've had multiple conversations with volunteers for Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense for Northeast DuPage, Elmhurst, and Clarendon Hills. And I'm very thankful that Jeff Matson, he kind of took a look at some of the feedback that we had gotten, also member Childress with regard to the loop that they added because many gun violence memorials have infinity paths. And the infinity symbol is something very important to gun violence survivors. And they also added additional trees, something that the Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense also suggested as being something that would be very, very nice. So they were very surprised that this was happening. So gratified. And I do think that this is something that benefits all of DuPage County. And so it would be great if we could use our surplus money to use this to benefit everyone as opposed to fundraising. Individual fundraising is really kind of an equity issue. And I know that I've talked with Member Childress about this and he agrees with me. So I hope that we will have unanimous approval going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Ozog?
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of my constituents was in the audience today from Moms Demand Action, and I think we'll find that throughout the county, there's a lot of support for this. And after just hearing that we have $115,000 left over from the member initiative money, I think it's a easy slam dunk that we can just take the $40,000 from that fund. So we have the money, and I think that it's something we should definitely go ahead with. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Ozog. Member Colbert is online, I think had a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is more of a comment. I just want to applaud and thank Member Childress, Vice Chair Childress, for this initiative and this project. I think it's a wonderful thing to remember victims of gun violence, and I think this is a beautiful project that we have. And again, $40,000 out of our extra member initiative money left over. I think this is a really good use, and it does make everybody feel included. And our county is supposed to be welcome and inclusive and kind. And this is what, this is an initiative or project to remember those who lost their lives. I can't even imagine, being a mother or sister or an aunt of somebody who lost their lives. So it's a very important project, and I want to thank Member Childress again for his initiative and for his hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Colbert. Member Honig was next.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with my colleagues. I do believe gun violence is a public health crisis, and a lot of times it isn't recognized as that. I do think here in DuPage, you do an amazing job at recognizing that, and I do believe that families deserve a place to go that holds that significant meaning for their loved ones. And it's going to be a place for grieving families and places to go, and a lot of people can gather there and help people through the pain that is so heavy on their hearts from so many people that have lost their lives to gun violence here in DuPage and all around the country. And I'm also open to exploring ways to doing, in conjunction with this memorial, PSAs in relation to safe gun storage, gun violence prevention programs, and general awareness about gun violence. I think there's a lot of opportunity to do good with this memorial, and I love all the additions that have been added, whether it's the trees or the infinity loop, and want to thank groups like Moms Demand Action that bring awareness of these issues every single day and fight really, really hard. So again, thank you, Member Childress. I think this is a really good opportunity to do a lot of good, and we have some money in surplus to do this. So I just want to show my support. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Honig. Member Evans was next. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to point out that this rendering was done by staff, and it's really they did a great job on this. I also wanted to point out that I think, is this a precedent we're setting? I think all the memorials on campus were private. There's a veterans memorial, there is a police memorial. Are we setting a precedence for this?
So you asked me that question. We have searched. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of those were a long time ago. So we're having trouble finding how some of those. I know that some of the other, like our Justice Bauer was privately funded. Some of those we can't find for sure how the police and the War Memorial were funded. I know the War Memorial happened in like 99, 98, 99, if I remember correctly. We're just having trouble finding exactly how. So I can't give you a full answer on that.
Okay. So if we are setting a precedence,
I mean, I will say this. What I do know is those memorials, we do spend money, general fund money maintaining them right now.
Sure.
That's a given. That I do know we do.
Okay, yeah, and absolutely, we'll be spending general fund money to maintain this too. I just want to point out that if we do this, we're setting a precedence for county money to build a memorial. And then are we going to be getting a memorial for domestic violence victims, for suicide victims, drunk driving victims? This is beautiful. I just want to know if we have more space on campus to do anything else.
That would be a question. I think this one could actually be a living, breathing thing and can actually be for all victims of all people who have lost people down the road.
Okay,
I'm sure, but I don't know. That's Member Childress's thing. But I think this is something that could probably be a living, breathing
Absolutely.
thing.
I would be totally open for all that too, like to open it up for other.
I think that's the
other
thing with the
businesses.
trees. You can kind of do it for whoever we've lost. And it's just a place to contemplate and feel the sadness and the loss that you have
That's
in your
wonderful.
life.
Thank you.
Okay, Member Heather's next. No, Member Krajewski, I have you. And
Thank you, Madam
Member
Chair.
Ekman. Thank you. Go ahead.
It's okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Vice Chair Childress, for your leadership in bringing this forward. I'm fully in support of this. On the county board, we have talked the talk. We have acknowledged all the work that the Moms Demand Action do in our communities. We support them. We have given proclamations to them. This is a time where we walk the talk. So I am really excited that we will be able to create a safe space for families to come together and remember the loved ones that they have lost. And I just want to say that I'm fully in support of this project. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Member Krajewski.
Thank you. Member Evans brought up some of my questions, but from a broader standpoint, should we be looking at a policy on what type of memorials we'll be allowing on the campus? And my thought was the same thing as Member Evans. What about the group that comes with regards to domestic violence, which clearly is a major problem in DuPage? If you ever go to the roll calls of the police department, that's their major call in almost every town is the domestic violence. And then you have suicide prevention. People have lost loved ones with the opioid drug epidemic we have here. And then is this going to be just a general memorial then for all of those? Or are we going to have the next group come to us in 6 months wanting to build one for domestic violence and ask us to pay for it, and then another one coming for people who've lost loved ones due to suicide, mental health, and build another memorial? I'm not sure if we should be looking at a criteria for campus, or are we going to build one general memorial for all of those that Member Evans just mentioned?
Well, I don't want to speak for Member Childress, so I'm going to have him speak, if you wouldn't mind, exactly what your vision was for this, and if you see it maybe blossoming out to include victims or families of victims of other things.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is something that we can look at, but when I talked to some members of this board, they told me they needed to do more research. Okay, so I went back to look at the numbers, and just in 2023, because 2024 and 2025 is not out yet. 2023, there were 41 victims of gun violence, either due to suicide or due to homicide, just alone, 2023. That's 41 families that don't have someone sitting at their kitchen table for Thanksgiving or Christmas. We're talking $40,000. That's $975 per family. And I don't think it's unreasonable to spend $975 per family to put a memorial to memorialize the victims of a gun violence. We've been talking the talk as Member Heather has said. We've been bringing them in. We've been having the T-shirts. We've been giving proclamations. It's time to get serious about the victims of gun violence. Yeah, there's issues with society in general. I understand that, but right now, this country is in a crisis. Every day you turn on the news, and there's victim after victim after victim of gun violence. I could probably walk across to the state's attorney's office and go through the numbers, and you probably have your head explode as to how many people and how many investigations, how many dollars we're spending to investigate all these issues around gun violence. And to spend $975 per family is not even something I would even consider debating.
Thank you, Member Childers. Moving on to Member Eckhoff.
Just a couple of things. I know the Veterans Memorial or the Memorial. We 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there was somebody on the county board who was continually going around to various groups and telling us how much money had been raised voluntarily through other groups. I'm pretty sure that the county board did not sponsor that one. But just regarding the procedure, why isn't this just an agenda item that we can read about before we get here? And so that, I mean, I'm not going to vote in favor of this because I haven't seen it before. Why can't it just come through the normal course and be on either, it should have been on this agenda or it can be on the next one in 2 weeks. I don't think there's any 911 about it.
Just to clarify, this is just for consensus. This actually was on our surplus.
How can you be asking?
I'm just clarifying that this was a consent. I want to say this was presented in part of our surplus discussion last week. So, and I actually thought that when we did part of the money going into the infrastructure that included this, but I was told that it did not. So this is now why we have to bring it up before us for different things. So I just wanted to clarify that. I've got on my list next, Member Cahill's next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, we all know that land and nature is healing and the quiet there. I think it's a really wonderful idea, but I believe that it should be more broad. Of course, the victims, the 41 families of gun violence, but think of the families of the opioid crisis. Think of the families of domestic violence. I mean, I just would like to just kind of do a statement to make it not specific, I mean, including gun violence victims, of course, but also those that the opioid overdose, the families that have been affected by that, which are in the hundreds and hundreds in DuPage County. So I would support it if we could have a statement to make it more broad.
Thank you, Member Cahill. Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pardon me. First of all, I think this discussion has gone a little bit too far into the weeds. The discussion was had in Public Works, and then we did also discuss it during the surplus. First of all, domestic violence and suicide are often related to gun violence. So in terms of covering many groups, unfortunately, that is part of this. Any memorial that was built here, we're not setting a precedent since they can't really find how these memorials were funded on paper at any rate, and they are on county land. So obviously the biggest contribution to any memorial is going to be the land. I think this is really an improvement for the campus. They can walk around, our employees can walk around. It also sends a statement that we do recognize this. But I'm also very disturbed to find out that we don't have figures for 2024 and 2025 for the gun violence here. And I would certainly like to see the sheriff's office present those numbers to the JPS committee as soon as possible. But I see no reason not to go ahead with this. We have $40,000 right away in the member initiative program, and we can go very far into the woods, but into the weeds. But I think this is a good idea, and it certainly serves, unfortunately, a broad swath of our community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Member LaPlante, I have next. Asked and answered. Okay. Member Galassi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to kind of to ask more specifically what Member Eckhoff is asking. I'm just, you know, we just approved to transfer the 3.2 million into both of the sustainability funds, and then the question was asked, you know, how do we decide then how these monies are going to be spent? This is kind of making me nervous that I thought that it would be a more, not just a consensus during old business. Like when we're deciding on how the sustainability money or the infrastructure money is being spent, I assumed it would be on the agenda and something.
This will be on the agenda. If we get a consensus today, it will be on the agenda next time. So this is just to get consensus. We want to put it on the agenda.
Understood. Okay, that makes more sense. Thank
you.
All right. Okay. And actually I did want to just add, if there's, I know you guys have been looking, but to me, I disagree with the previous comment. To me, it does matter how the other memorials were paid for. To me, that is very important because I don't want the Veterans Memorial or if those were privately funded or fundraised for, that does affect how I would vote on this because that is, I think we need to be consistent on the campus.
What I will do is we will redouble our efforts, see if we can find anything. I mean, we're talking pre-2000, but I will redouble. If I find anything, I will send it out to the board over the next week.
I was just gonna say.
I do remember, so the one thing I do remember, our interim chair, John Case at that time, that's when I first got here. That was one of his biggest initiatives, was the memorial out there. I don't know how it was funded. Do you remember, Zay? I mean, that was his biggest initiative. But we'll look and see if we can find anything.
I think it was joint. They did private donations, and I think the county gave money too.
I specifically, as I said, I specifically remember a woman who's on the county board in District 2 or 3 going around multiple times, month after month, telling us how much money had been raised to do that. And I would think that if there was an expenditure by the county, that we would have records about the expenditures, much easier than the Kiwanis Club having records of them giving us money. So if we don't have it in our records, I'm pretty sure it was volunteer.
Okay, thank you. I've got Member Krajewski, Member Shorzy, and we're gonna finish.
Thank you
Member
again.
Childers.
Not sure my answer got answered by Member Childers, but to the broader having a policy, I look in the national suicide rate, 14 per 100,000. Our coroner should be able to have all that data. We used to get Rich Jorgensen in front of us telling us how many people we lost due to suicides and opioid epidemic, and we would see the numbers, and how they increase. So I would check with the coroner. But what are we going to do with regards to the domestic violence group that comes in 6 months and says, I want a memorial now? I'm not part of the gun one, but I want my own. Are we going to say yes? Or, as Member Cahill pointed out, people have lost their lives, which are many more in DuPage due to the drug epidemic, the opioids. Are we going to tell them? I mean, again, we should have a policy. Are we going to say, no, we're not? You're part of that one over there that's guns, not your own specific one? Or are we going to continue to construct multiple ones, but under some?
Again, my thought is that trees, as you can see, there's only 2 trees there, that we can keep adding trees for people who have other things that they want.
So we're telling other groups, if you come to us, you're not getting a memorial like the gun violence ones, you're going to get a tree. I'm just asking what the overall policy is. If they want a memorial, that's $40,000 for remembrance of everybody who lost their lives due to suicide in DuPage, which is probably for the gun violence. Should we just tell them no? I'm just asking, is that the policy? You go get a tree.
I'm just saying that's my idea. I'm not saying that is the board's idea. I'm just asking that's something I foresee.
Perspective, I think we should be looking at what the policy will be. Are we funding it? We fund half.
We'll have a discussion. Again, this is going to be on the agenda in 2 weeks, so we will talk about it more then. Really quickly, can we get Member Shorzy? I think I saw Member Hughes, and then we're gonna, no, okay. Member Shorzy, and then we're gonna end with Member Childers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I've been listening to this discussion, and at serving almost 30 years as a firefighter paramedic, I've been on my share of gun violence calls. A couple offenders shot people, but the ones that really stick out in my mind are the couple handful of suicides that I've been on, and I could describe them to you.
No, please.
I'm not going to. Some of the role that I had to play in that. Having this could be very therapeutic, not just for the families, but for the first responders, the police officers who see this way more than I ever saw it, and certainly the firefighter paramedics who have to live with this. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Shorzy, for that point of view. That's really pointed. Member Ozog really wants to say something, and then we're going to go to Member Childers.
I think our memorial to suicide and domestic violence is across the street in the Crisis Recovery Center. And by having this center, God willing, we're going to prevent a lot of issues that people have dealt with for decades in this county. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Member Ozark, and we're gonna finish with Member Childress.
Yes, I just wanted to answer Member Ozark's question. As I was scrubbing, doing the research, the 2024 national numbers and the 2025 is just not out yet. It's not that we don't have it. They expect 2024 to be released next month. Yeah.
She
And
can
then
get up
we,
there and answer
but then
them.
we scrub down to
After him.
right. And those numbers will be released sometime this month.
Oh,
And then next year, 2025 won't be till next year. That's how the government works.
All right, thank you, Member Childress. Okay, I am going to get a consensus on whether we can get this on the agenda in 2 weeks. Raise your hand if you're in favor of putting this on the agenda in 2 weeks. Looks like we have everybody but one. Okay. All right, this will be on the agenda in 2 weeks. Thank you, Member Childress, for bringing this up.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, under old business, we have a question answered for, I think, that was regarding the grants, correct?
Yep, Member Krajewski asked, how do these compare 25, 26? I have the numbers for you. So I figured I'd go ahead and do that. So the first one you had on the agenda was the Community Development Block Grant. For 26, it was 3.70, and 25 is 3.74. So $30,000 decrease. The next one on there was the Home Investment Partnership Program. In 26, it was 1.57. In 25, it was 1.73. So what about $170,000 decrease? And then the final one was the Emergency Solutions Grant, ESG. That was pretty much spot on it was $200 difference from one to the other. So that one did not change.
Are those based on population?
These are all entitlements, so it's a population poverty, who lives here. And then, it is also based on our carryover, and they are estimates, so these could come in higher or lower depending on.
So the population, I think, is it's relatively same from 25 to 26, hence the numbers are pretty much identical from 25 to 26.
But they're also based on
Right.
income level.
All right, thank you so much for that information. Member Ozark, do you have a question on this?
I do.
Okay.
I'm very concerned. I think it would be good to stop listening to the news these days, but in the last 48 hours, the Trump administration has discussed limiting federal funding to 6 states, which are all blue states, including Illinois, Colorado, California. My question is, and I think this is directly for Nick, but Mary Keating as well, when do we get these federal grants and have the money in hand? Because I think we should probably all have some grave concerns about having rugs pulled out from underneath us.
I think it's here, right?
That's a good question. I mean, for most of them, federal year starts October. We usually hear between October and January when we're going to get the funding.
When you're going to get the funding?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, and well, for these 3, we're entitlement, so we get them directly.
Okay.
But for like community services block grant, the weatherization funding that you saw today, those go to the state.
State first, right?
Then they come to us. So it really depends on when the state gets it for those.
Okay, so it's up in the air, not the answer I was hoping for. Thank you.
Okay, do you have a question on this?
Okay, with that, because I know the first ones we talked about earlier on the agenda were due to they went to the state. These come directly to us. When they go to the state and then they come to us, that's why either the feds got to the state late or the state got to us late. Does the state take any administrative fee for that? They take so these are fee exempt.
That one I do know, they do take an administrative fee on it.
Yeah, and do we ever look at that? Because I know when we had the ARPA money, before we had that, we had the CARES money. And the state at that time got all of the DuPage communities money, which they kept instead of giving it to the states and then, or see the cities, and then we did that. And then I know the feds, because of the state, keeping money and other states doing the same thing, they lowered that population from 500,000 to 25,000. So the Fed sent the money for the second round of ARPA directly to Downers Grove, Naperville, Elmhurst, Wheaton. They got the direct allocation since they didn't get it, because this was raised at our last mayor's issue with the District 3 and the mayors. You know, that money that came to us, which was ours, we had to give it to the cities because the state kept it. And I'd be curious, how much are they taking off the top down in Springfield? Or should we ask in our federal legislation to have direct allocations like we do for these? They come directly to us, so we get 100% versus it going to Springfield and then they just take some and then they send it over to us less fee.
We don't know that offhand, but we'll research it.
And that should be something part of our federal legislation, especially counties of say bigger than $500,000, to get the direct money directly. Maybe smaller counties, it can go to the state, but you know, we're very large here in DuPage, and like we get these grants direct. When it goes to the state, they seem to take a bunch and then give it to us. We can administer it better ourselves. And they did that with that CARES money. They took all our towns in DuPage and Will and Lake, and they kept it. And they just said, go talk to your counties. The second time around, the feds lowered that population from 500 to 25,000 and then gave it directly to everybody. And so we should be looking to some of those other community block grants to see if we can get them direct from the feds under, you know, a population thing. If you're larger cities or counties larger than $500,000, to get it direct from the feds versus going to your state, because you lose money down there when they take it and we don't get the full like we did for these.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chair Keel.
One quick question. So I was in the Human Services meeting and Mary Keating stated that it was my understanding that we are getting the grant monies as expected and as needed, that we are getting all the monies that we need for this upcoming year. Isn't that true?
That was based upon the budgets that were passed on a federal level, look to be pretty much intact.
Yes.
And so obviously we'll see what trickles down to us, but every indication is that we should be about the same level as 25.
Yeah, she was very positive that we were having the same grant funding from 2025. Second, what I saw Member Ozog about the state funding was about some federal flooding funds that were requested by the state of Illinois to the federal government that were denied, which I don't know why they were denied, but it was for flooding and problems like that. That was just in the news this morning. But I think that we're going to be fine with the federal grant funding. That is what I understand in my human services meetings.
Okay, fingers crossed. Let's hope we are. I had remembered to start under old business. Did you want us to talk about something?
Thank you so much. And my vote would be the same, but I did have a question, to get my hand up in time. A question on 7B8. I think this is probably for Nick. Nick, I was just wondering about the north generator at the DuPage Care Center. And it says upgrades will cost $681,000. And I was just wondering, upgrades versus new, like how much less expensive or how much more expensive would it be to buy new versus the upgrades to this in the long run? Is it end of life? Are we fixing an old horse? And just all of the money we've invested now in the construction of the care center upgrades, would it be more beneficial to buy new instead of fixing an old horse? Thank you.
So we can get specific on these right here, but I will tell you, so the backup generation here on the county campus is definitely complicated and unique. We have the main backup generator facility that covers the vast majority of the county, not everything, but special buildings like the care center and the jail that have 24/7 population has an additional level of backup generation. And that's what we're talking about here. We have our regular generation building. This board spent quite a bit of money back in 2013, 2012, I think, for that. And it provides, and then the other one is obviously our 911 facility on campus. So this one is the standalone that services the care center.
And so regarding the cost, the generator itself is not near end of life at this point. It's about $700,000 to do this work by the low bid. Our estimate was considerably higher than that. This is basically to separate that generator so it can stand alone and can service the care center when required.
And I will tell you, every time we have a major repair like this, we look at the cost benefit of complete replacement versus repair versus how many years are we gaining on this? That calculus is done on every single repair we do on a major capital item like this. We do it on roofs, we do it on, windows, does it make sense to repair it, replace it? What do we do? And we absolutely do that calculus every time.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Just ballparking, what would a new one cost instead of spending $700,000 to fix?
Do you have that?
So actually on this project, currently the care center is backed up on the power plant's emergency generator, which kicks in before our larger generators kick in. As a healthcare facility and IDPH requirements, this is actually a new generator for the care center. So it will have its own emergency first firing up generator, and then it'll kick onto our backup system. So this is a new generator for the care center.
So is it rebuilding what we had? I mean,
we also have to do some electrical switchgear work
That's
to
a
split it off the power plant. So some of that's part of this cost as well.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I had Member Honig. Did you have some old business? No? Okay. Member Ozog, did you have some old business? No? Okay. All right. Anybody else have any old business? Any new business? May I get a motion to adjourn? All in favor?